Hello everyone, I cordially welcome you all to another video from the React tutorial series, and in this video we are going to discuss on fragments in React. So without any delay, let's get started. So let me give you a requirement. In the previous article, we have seen both in class and functional component, we can return a single parent div element which is basically the root of the JSX tree for our component. In case we want to return multiple div elements, we need to wrap all the div tags with a parent div element. This not only adds up extra DOM node, but also creates unnecessary nesting of the div elements. This is so because React uses the tree-like DOM structure which is utilized for reconciliation. What I am saying, in the previous example, we have seen how we can render a list in React. Basically, we will have similar child elements under a parent element, okay? And those child elements should always be wrapped by a parent div tag, because your JSX only supports returning of one parent element. Inside that parent element, whatsoever child elements can be present. But hierarchically, in the same level, multiple nodes cannot be returned. That will throw an error. Okay. Now to satisfy the requirement of React, what we generally do, we wrap our hierarchical components by a parent div again. This basically adds a parent div over them so that we return a parent div from the return statement of the React component. And this in turn satisfies the React rendering process. Okay. Now this is so because React uses the tree-like DOM structure which is utilized for reconciliation. Okay. Now let's understand what is reconciliation. Reconciliation is a process by which React differentiates with one DOM tree with another in virtual DOM to check which part or node to update and then to do the update in real DOM tree in browser. So in case we use multiple coordinate DOM nodes with no parent root, the reconciliation algorithm would fail. This is what in general I am talking about. In case of rendering list, as I have already said, you have a parent div element. Within that, you have a lot of child coordinate DOM nodes. Now, if your parent node is absent, React cannot track that DOM tree, and thus your reconciliation algorithm failed. So reconciliation is a process by which React differentiates with one DOM tree with another in virtual DOM to check which parts or nodes to update and then do the update in real DOM tree in browser. Okay. Now remember one thing, when you unnecessarily introduce div elements as parent element or parent nodes, one problem do occur. If you are familiar with writing CSS and if you are using display flex, unnecessary introduction of div nodes will actually break your CSS. Not only that, it will also make your DOM node look cluttered and will introduce unnecessary nodes in your component. But one good news for you, we can avoid this. And how? We can simply avoid this using the fragments concept. Now let's read the second part of the slide. But with the introduction of fragments in React version 16.2, we could use the React fragment instead of the parent div to wrap our child elements for rendering. We can write fragments like react.fragment within open and close tag, or simply less than greater than and then less than oblique greater than sign. Basically an empty tag, as you can say. Okay. Now let's see an example how do fragments work. We are again back in the VS Code, and now let's consider an example in our app.tsx file. Basically, let's say within this div, we don't want to return this friends page which we were using previously. We want to return 3 div elements just like this, one after the other, and they will be coordinate. So here parent 1, here parent 2, here parent 3. Now things are correct, but you are seeing a red underline on my screen. Why is it so? Let me hover on it and read the error message. It says JSX expression must have one parent element. Because React says you cannot render 3 items coordinately together. You must have one parent div tag or one parent node which will wrap up this. And if we want to avoid this, what we can do, we can simply write another pair of div, and within this pair of div, we can introduce the child divs. Okay. Now you will see our errors have vanished. And let me give this div a name like class name app. Okay. Let's run our code and see an example. So we will write npm start to run our code. Let's wait for some time. Yes, as you can see in the browser, we can see parent1, parent2 and parent3 as a list of div elements. If I go to this view page source, you will not see anything over here. So we cannot read by this process. What we need to do, we need to click on inspect, then go to this element section. And if you can focus on this part of the browser, you will see within body tag, we have a root. Within root, we have app. Within app, we have parent1, parent2, parent3 and div. But for an example, if you are just creating a component, you might not have to write this app and created an extra layer of div over here. Okay. Here it is a requirement because it is a parent app class, or you can say parent app component. But in case of any child component, this might sometimes screw up your CSS if you are using a concept of flex and flexbox. Okay. Now, how can we avoid writing this extra pair of div tag and also avoid the error which is thrown by React? Let's do the trick. First of all, I will remove everything from here and also remove this. You will see nothing happens because now by writing an empty tag, we are using fragments in React. And if I click on save, you will see our rendering has happened again. And now if I go to the browser, you will see under root, now we don't have any parent div. We are simply having 3 child divs. Okay. So now React is not throwing an error. And this is the beauty of using fragments in React. Basically, fragments allow you to write coordinate divs together without the need of introducing another node as a parent node. Basically, your fragment can take care of it. Okay. Now let's go back to our presentation and study in detail what are the benefits of using React fragments. So as you can see on my screen, there are 3 major benefits of using fragments. Let's read each of them one by one. The unnecessary div elements expands the HTML DOM, which leads to consumption of more resources by the browser. In the other hand, fragments clears out all unnecessary div elements, but still acting as a wrapper for child elements. This leads to faster rendering and discounted use of memory resources. React Fragments provides better code readability than expanded div elements. And lastly, Fragments allow the developers to return multiple JSX elements without causing any parent-child relationship issues. As I have already said, not only Fragments help you by removing unnecessary div elements from your JSX, but it actually allows you to write a lot of coordinate div tags without you worrying about this parent-child relationship, and also without breaking your CSS flex boxes. Okay, so I hope you like this video. In case you like it, feel free to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We are going to bring up more videos in the future. For any queries, suggestions, doubts or feedbacks, feel free to post them in the comment section. We are going to reply. So thank you for now. See you in the next video. Bye.